back to Tanya's Talks, the vet nurse vlog. Firstly, apologies. What's happening here? Rudolph, what are you doing with your antlers? Pepper! Pepper? Are you Rudolph? Pepper? Are you Rudolph? Your antlers? What did you do to your antlers? I thought you were Rudolph. Have you been Pepper this whole time? Well, I thought I had Rudolph as my co-star today for my Christmas episode, but this is Pepper, and she's destroyed her antlers. Well, now you look like Rudolph again, but you're definitely Pepper. Well, I suppose we carry on with Pepper. I'm sorry, I thought I had Rudolph as my co-star today, but firstly, apologies for not doing my planned Halloween episode. I'm afraid that life just got away with me. So we're going straight into a Christmas episode, and I'm gonna go over things to be careful with your pets around Christmas. And I've got a cheeky cat who's trying to get involved in the video here. Hello. Do you want me to take these off? Just a quick reminder, if you haven't... Are you sulking with me now, Rudolph? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sad that I couldn't tell that you were Pepper all along? I am sorry. Anyway, me and my dramatic Rudolph, we're gonna go over some things. Be careful with your pets about over Christmas. If you didn't see my last video, just give it a little watch. It's just an overview of kind of the things, the rules of these chats. Just a little reminder of why I want to do them, and the things I'll be covering, and sort of the rules going forward with regards to like comments and things like that. Anyway, so number one, Christmas outfits. So as you can see, I don't really have an issue with Christmas outfits. Not everyone will agree with me. But the main thing I will just say is just be really, really careful with them with regards to any kind of hazard. If you've got a dog that likes to chew things, don't leave them unattended with it. They might want to try and eat it. And no choking hazards on them, anything like that. Fluffy dogs inside in the heating, they will heat up quickly, so just keep a really close eye. Am I keeping you awake? That was a big sigh. Just keep an eye that they're not overheating in outfits inside and with the heating on, especially if they're a big fluffy dog. On the alternative side of that, we've got the extreme cold weather at the moment. So if you've got cats that go outdoors or animals that live outdoors, just be really careful. Make sure they're warm enough. Try and get your cats in at night. Try and not leave them out at night. It is quite cold. They do cope well, but try and bring them in at night. Small dogs are quite prone to getting cold outside when it's really, really cold. Another big thing to be really careful of with cats in particular when it's cold outside is antifreeze. So cats tend to quite like sweet things, and apparently antifreeze, screen wash, that kind of thing tastes quite sweet. And if a cat's been outside for a period of time and they're looking for something to drink, if all the water's frozen and someone has been filling their car up and there's a little puddle of antifreeze, they'll drink that, and especially because it's got apparently a sweet taste, they'll be quite keen to drink that, and it can be fatal. It causes an acute renal failure. It can be fatal. So be really careful with that with your cats. If your cat's been outside and they come in and they're acting at all funny, it could be a potential toxin ingestion from something like antifreeze. So be really aware of that at this time of year. Also, cats really like to climb inside car bonnets when the engine's warm to heat up, and also above tyres and things like that in cars. So be really aware of things like that at this time of year with cats outside in the cold. Another big one for cats and dogs, but especially dogs going out for a walk, is if there's been grit put down on the pavements, amazing to stop you slipping, but it's really irritant to their pads on their paws. So if they get a lot of grit on their pads, you may need to think about giving them a little wash before you come back in. If you notice your dog really excessively licking it and chewing at its paws, and that the pads look quite red, and you've been outside recently and there's been grit on the ground, it's probably that. It really irritates the skin and can make it really sore. So yeah, especially if you end the walk on a path that has a lot of grit on it and they don't have time to go on the grass and kind of rub it off afterwards, think about washing their feet when they come in, because it is really irritant. Okay, so the big one, toxicities around Christmas time. Unfortunately for our pets, Christmas does not come without risks. There's a lot of things we have around at Christmas time that are really toxic to them. So the big one that you'll know is chocolate. Now, just a reminder that dogs do not know what the packaging for chocolate looks like, wrapped or no. So just because the number of people who say, oh, my dog ate the chocolate that was under the tree, but it was wrapped, so I don't know how they knew it was chocolate. They can smell that it's chocolate, so just be really careful. There is a toxic dose, but it's better to just be safe than sorry, to be honest, especially if you've got a smaller dog. Dark chocolate especially, but if they have, a large amount of milk chocolate, they can make themselves really unwell. So it's always worth going to the vet. The vet can give them an injection that makes them sick if they've eaten it recently. And then if they've brought it up and been made sick, then you shouldn't need to worry too much at that point. But be really wary of chocolate. Don't leave it at their level. An even more important one is dried fruit. So as we know at this time of year, we have Christmas cake, Christmas pudding, mince pies, all these things with lots of dried fruit in them. There is no sort of known, it's not like chocolate where it's over a certain amount, is a kind of lethal dose. Every animal is different, and it can be as little as one grape, one sultana, something like that can actually push a dog into acute kidney failure. It really can be fatal. It's really serious. Anything with dried fruit in it, please keep away from your animals. If you even suspect that they've had any, you must take them to the vet. You need to make them sick. The vet will discuss further treatment options with you depending on when you thought it happened. It's up to you, but I personally, if it was my pet, I would be keeping them in on fluids as well to help support the kidneys. Unfortunately, you can't know with bloods until about 24 hours later, 24 to 48 hours later, as to whether or not there has been any absorption and there has been any damage to the kidneys. So it's always been my opinion that it's best to just not take the risk, have them on those fluids just to try and stop anything from happening, because it can be extremely fatal. It usually has artificial sweeteners in it, a lot of your sugar-free fizzy juices, sweets, things like that. A few of the artificial sweeteners can be really bad, but xylitol especially is particularly bad for dogs and cats. Essentially what it does is they ingest it and it tricks their body into thinking that they've had a really high dose of glucose, a lot of sugar, and they release a lot of insulin as a result, and essentially they go hypoglycemic to the point that they can die. We're being serious here. This is, it is a really serious one. I've seen it myself. You can have actually up to about a 24-hour period where they're really, really unstable in their blood glucose, so they need really intense monitoring for at least 24 hours. I've seen it happen myself where a dog has died because the monitoring is, decreased, and they've died later on, even like more than 12 hours after ingestion. So you need to be really careful with that one. Please just keep anything that's like sugar-free, any of your fizzy juices, any of your sweets, keep them away from your animals, your dogs and your cats. And you have things like a little bit lower risk, things like your nuts, onions, garlic. Really not ideal for them to have, especially nuts are a bit of a choking hazard. Not as high risk as the other ones. If they ingest a little bit, they'll probably be okay, but just keep a close eye on them. Essentially, if they start to show signs of being a bit quieter, not wanting to eat, maybe being sick, anything like this, get in touch with the vet. You're better safe than sorry. Just try and keep them away from nuts, onion, garlic. So be really careful when you're giving them things like homemade sausage rolls with sausage meat or fancy gravies or things like this around Christmas time, that there's not onion and garlic and things in there as well. Bones, again, people like to treat their dogs and their cats a lot around Christmas time. There's lots of discussion to have around bones in general, but if you want to give your dog bones, make sure that they're raw ones. Okay, so do not give them cooked bones, especially cooked chicken bones. And I would think, being a bird, turkey bones would probably be quite similar. Essentially, because they've been cooked, they become really brittle. And when the dog chews them, they can splinter and they can puncture into their gums, in the back of their throat. They can cause really extreme problems. They can puncture in like their guts and things like that. So be really careful with bones. Make sure that they're raw, and even when they are raw, just keep a really close eye on your dog when they're eating them, and that they're not hurting their teeth or anything like that as well. Alcohol is another one. Lots of alcohol around. Again, if your pet gets a little bit, it's not too bad, but we really don't want our dogs and our cats having too much alcohol. Just be really careful when it's lying around, especially a greedy Labrador might be inclined to, try and get some of that. So just be really careful. Other big main ones, especially if you have house rabbits, also cats and some dogs as well, actual like foreign body objects, so things that they might eat that are indigestible, that might cause issues because they're like a long thin thing, or something that they can't digest that might block the guts. So things like we bring in pine needles, because they smell nice from the outside, they might be interested in those. Cats especially might be interested in things like tinsel, ribbons, wires. House rabbits might be quite interested in things like that as well, for obvious reasons. We don't want them chewing wires. There's obviously an electrocution risk there. Things like ribbon and tinsel as well can cause, ribbons can cause what you call linear foreign body in cats. So they get a big long bit of ribbon that they swallow, and it goes into their guts, and then it sort of winds all their guts up, so that can be really bad. So be really careful with that. Cats really like things like ribbon. It's okay to play with your cat with things like ribbon, but just be really careful. If your cat is one that likes to eat things, leaving these things lying around if you're not keeping an eye on them. Batteries, obviously for obvious reasons with battery acid, you do not want your pet ingesting batteries. That's an instant vet visit if you see that. And obviously be aware of things like candles, lit candles. My cat herself, Ember, she's really bad. If I have a candle lit, she is quite interested and she wants to go up and sniff it, so be really careful obviously for burns with those. Also decorations that you bring in from outside, like holly and mistletoe, can be poisonous to animals. Obviously they're prickly as well, so just be really careful with them wanting to eat those. And then finally, as it can be sometimes for all of us, Christmas is a little bit of a stressful time for animals often. I think people often think they're coping a bit better than they are. Obviously, they're all different. Some animals are more sociable than others and deal better with change and lots of people than others. But just be aware that it is a stressful time for them. We've got lots of busy family events going on, people coming in and out the house. You've changed a lot of things in the house. You brought in all these decorations and new things, which can be quite a stressful thing for them. And it's a lot for animals getting their routine changed. You won't be having the normal routine over the couple of days of Christmas, so bear that in mind. And just like with other stressful events, when they say about fireworks and things like this, creating a really nice, quiet space that they can go to, respecting their boundaries. So if you do have family around, just be really clear with them. If the dog is in their bed, you must leave them alone, please. If the dog moves away from you, or the cat, please don't chase them around the house, don't follow them, respect their boundaries. Let animals come to you, don't be following them around. If need be, create a space in another room, a fenced off area. If they like going in a crate, have their crate for them and all nice and comfy, or somewhere where they know that they can go to get away. You can build like a sort of den sort of area, all enclosed. It can make them feel quite secure in there. Cats especially like a nice enclosed area to sit in, and it just helps them to feel like they have somewhere to go and escape everything that's going on. And dogs and cats, dogs especially, they release endorphins, and they're distracted and they're soothed when they do things like licking, sniffing and chewing. So providing them with things like licky mats, with snuffle balls, treat balls, and with toys that they can chew on, all these kind of things. If they're a little bit stressed and they have those options that they know are there that they can go to and they can have, it distracts them, takes their mind off it, and it releases endorphins and it relaxes them. And cats as well. Our cat gets a little treat ball. She likes that. It's amazing what cats will have. You can get licky mats and things for cats as well. So even just putting them upstairs, giving them a nice bed, giving them a licky mat, something like that. Put on some quiet music to try and drown out the music of all the people in the house and all the goings on. Things like that all help. If they are still really struggling, you can go to your vet beforehand and you can get anti-anxiety medication as well. That's something worth considering if you do have a really anxious pet. It can just help to take the edge off for them. So I hope you've all enjoyed that. I hope it doesn't come across too negative. It's just trying to give you all some hints and tips of things that you really need to be careful of around Christmas time, what things are more serious than others. As usual, if you are ever concerned, please call your vet and take their advice on anything that you're worried about. And hopefully if you follow these tips from Pepper, Ember and Ivy, Sleepy Pepper, hopefully you can keep yourselves and your furry friends healthy and happy over Christmas. And I hope you all have a lovely Christmas and New Year. I'll see you all in 2026.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video as much as Pepper did, make sure to visit my channel at Tanya's Tales and click subscribe to keep up with my latest videos.